Hello, a very bored Uncle Matt here, so I thought I'd make another video. This time it's pierogi. I'm going to make pierogi, classic Polish dish. I think it's one of the most well known. It's a dumpling, similar but not quite the same as a ravioli, so it's going to be a dough, and this one's going to be filled with some mushrooms, which are dried mushrooms which I've rehydrated, and it's going to have the sauerkraut, this stuff that I made. Anyway, so I'm going to crack on with this one. Hope you like it. Right, well, let's describe what I'm doing and also try to give you a bit of background information on this. So the dry ingredients into a bowl, that was plain flour, and then into the warm water, the egg and the oil, and very, very carefully whip that together. My last jug I had broke while I was doing something like this, so very carefully get the wet into the dry. You're going to work that to a shaggy dough in the bowl, and then we're going to turn it onto the work surface and we're going to knead this thing. So pierogi, it's a filled dumpling. It basically, most Central and Eastern European countries have something similar, and the translation just means pie. They can have savoury fillings, mostly vegetables, meat, potatoes, etc., or they can have sweet fruit fillings as well. Okay, so you can see I've got this extremely sticky dough there that I'm just going to work with, and it's a good job to have some flour ready. Like I haven't. Oh, I didn't take the lid off. Whoops. All right, so a bit of a mess there. Good technique that, to get the excess mess off of your fingers with a bit of flour, and just keep working this. It's going to take about 4 to 5 minutes until you get a nice smooth, elasticy, sort of springy, responsive dough. But you are going to need to add plenty of flour along the way when you need it. So just keep going with that. So a little legend I found, a Hyacinth, who was Polish, she visited Kiev and she found this recipe and she brought it back to Poland. Our local town, there was a big storm, and they lost their crops. She got them all to pray, and the next day it was back. The crops were back, and they celebrated by harvesting and making pierogi. Nice story, but it is a legend. Anyway, so keep working it. A minute ago it was testing it, it was just still a little bit sticky, so I just thought, no, let's keep going for another minute or so. A little bit of flour as we go. It's looking really nice now. Let's have another try, and hopefully it should be, come on, get on with it, just nice. It's smooth. It's smooth and it's a little bit elastic, springy. There, that's ready. Give that a wrap and either leave it to the side, or I think what I should have done, I should have popped it in the fridge for a little while. I've learnt a new trick. I can use the force to peel an onion. I wonder if that works on ladies' clothes. Anyway, just give my knife a quick sharpen there. Now I'm going to dice an onion. You can just chop it up anyhow. We're trying to get it reasonably small, just showing you the technique there. Cut to the core, but not quite all the way through. It holds it together, and then slice down like that, and you've got nice even dice. And then I think, just keep going for a little while. Get it nice and small. Right, there we go. We're going to sort out these mushrooms. Now, these mushrooms were foraged in Poland and brought back by my lady. So these are from the family. So that makes this even more authentic. Don't throw away that juice. You can use that in another dish, in a soup, a risotto, what have you. But you'll strain it because it'll have bits of grit in it. So finally chop up these thoroughly rehydrated mushrooms. Ideally you do that over several hours. I did mine for a couple of hours with hot water. That was good. That's the sauerkraut that I made a little while ago. Check that video out. It's lovely. Right. Let's cook the filling. Yep. Load of butter, but that was in the recipe I found as well, so they do use it. And I'm going to, it's quite a big onion, so I thought I need onion to garnish it, so I'm going to reserve about a quarter of that onion. Salt and pepper, of course. So this is over a sort of medium heat in my lovely skillet, and the cooking of these vegetables took something like 4 or 5 minutes. So just keep going. I've got the mushrooms in, and I'm just going to whack in the cabbage in a second, and we'll just keep going. There we go. And just keep stirring it, making sure it's not burning, but you do want it to sort of really get cooked down. So we're almost there now. By the way, if you like my content, please interact with me, because at the moment, obviously, worrying times, if you interact, it helps YouTube to make the decision to promote me, to recommend my videos. So like, subscribe, and all that sort of stuff. Sharing, commenting. Anyway, mushrooms are ready. Into a bowl. I had that bowl in the fridge, so it was already cold. And what I'm doing there is I'm just sort of trying to create some little peaks and troughs so it will cool down more quickly in the fridge. Now I decided to do my garnish with some bacon as well. Look at that one go. Never seen bacon jump like that before. And normally I think you might do this as you're frying the pierogi, but I thought I'll get this bit done, out the way, already done. Save time for presentation later on. So let's get ready with this dough. It's still a bit sticky. Language, Timothy. Prizes for anyone in the comments who gets that reference. Give you a clue, 80s sitcom. Right then, roll out your dough. You're going to get this to a few millimeters, which would probably be like 1/8 of an inch. I'm not very good at that still, sorry. But just keep going until it's thin. I'll show you in a minute how thin I got it with another camera angle. But you can see it's rolling really nicely. If you find it keeps sort of retracting back, just leave it alone for a little while. Let the glutens relax. Let it rest, and then it'll be easier to roll it out. And there is the thickness. Yeah, that's about right. I like to add a little bit of flour on my cutter. Now that's about a 9 centimetre, sort of about 3.5 inch cutter. I think that was a nice size, but I don't think it really matters whatever size you do. They'll either be a bit bigger or a bit smaller. Now don't throw away the trimmings. I'm going to re-roll it. I don't know whether that's traditional. I might be committing some sort of sin there, but I did. And the re-rolls actually were quite good. This is a technique. Flour on either a plate or a board or a tray, whatever you're going to put them on afterwards, because the dough may stick to it. Now, what I should have done here, and I did it when I did the extra ones at the end, is rather than just putting that filling on loose, I should have really formed it into a ball, roll it in my hands, because it would have formed. So I've just made my life a little bit more difficult here, and you'll see, I got there, but it's very delicate, little bits are falling. You don't really want the bits in between the pastry on the outside, because it may prevent them from sealing closed properly. But there you go. Very, very tricky, and I don't have very much dexterity. I'm really not very good at that. So if I can do this, honestly, you can do this. You can see me struggling. It looks like it's not going to seal, but it does. I just keep persevering, and it does seal. But if yours won't, a little dab of water, and you'll see what I did with the re-rolls. I used the dab of water. And this is, I thought, well, I'll crimp them. I know sometimes they come crimped, sometimes they don't. I thought, yeah, let's have a go with that. And again, if you're worried about them not sealing, that's another sort of layer of security for that. And that looks pretty. I like it. But I'll show you one now where I don't crimp it. Just give those seals a really good squeeze. Thin them out as well, so you don't have one bit of pastry that's thicker than the others, because it'll take longer to cook, you see. And there, yeah, looking nice. Okay, so we'll get all those done, and then I'll show you the re-rolling in a second. And I didn't need to add any moisture to it. It was still nice and moist. It rolled out just lovely, and I got an extra 4 out of this. And you see what I've done there with the filling. That made much more sense. And then a little dab of water, only halfway round. You don't want to do it all the way around, because then the water won't stick to a watery side. Just bring it over. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. So I think, and this, by the way, is the first time I've ever done this. So I'm trying out something tricky and technical for the first time on telly, which I like to do sometimes, put pressure on myself. Okay, now getting ready to boil them. What I've done there on a plate is oil it. That is necessary as well, because otherwise they're going to stick after they've been boiled. And how long do you boil them for? Well, get them to float, but then I gave them another couple of minutes. So in total, that was probably between 3 to 4 minutes. And by all means, serve them immediately. But I don't think I've ever had them just boiled. I've always had them pan fried, and it was so much nicer. So onto your plate or tray, whatever you're putting them onto, and do that in batches. Don't overload your pan, otherwise they won't boil. And what I've done there, a little bit more oil on there just to precautionary make sure they don't stick. And now let's cook them up. A little bit of butter and oil. obviously, this is Uncle Matt's cookery lessons. We like butter here. And pop them in. The flat side down, I think, is what I did first of all. Thought, yeah, that makes more sense. Bit of seasoning again. And this is really just a few minutes, just until you got them nice and toasty looking, because everything's cooked. And you'll see me in a minute. You know, after about 1.5 minutes, we'll have a look at the other side. Are they getting golden? Yeah, lovely. That's beautiful. Very happy. So flip those all over. Give another minute on the other side. And obviously, depending on how many you're doing, I just cooked off this one batch. I've still got some in my fridge, and they're for my lady today. She's going to be very happy with me. And yeah, I basted because I think it's rude not to, but you know, you don't have to. Traditionally, these are served with sour cream, but from town to town, from household to household in Poland or wherever, that'll differ. That's the garnishy bits, the bacon and the onion. I just put it in the pan right at the very end just to warm through, just a little bit to sprinkle on the top. And that is normally where they would stop in Poland. They wouldn't add any more garnish, but I just can't help myself. I'm thinking I've got to take photos. It's going to look nicer with a bit of parsley on top. So does it taste nice? Well, we're going to find out now. And there's a bit of crunch there. And yes, absolutely delicious. I'm really pleased. I don't notice any difference between these and the ones I've had in Poland. So, well done me. Anyway, I'm going to hand you back over to me now. Okay, very, very pleased. I think my lady is going to be pleased when she gets home, and I'll make some for her later on. She's working. And really, really happy with the balance, the flavours, mushrooms, cabbage and the onion. Nothing's overpowering, nothing's taking over, just a good blend of flavours. Lovely with a bit of sour cream. Anyway, as they say in Poland, smacznego, dziękuję and dobranoc.